Peace. What's going on, everyone? Today my download is on being too attached to your identity, right? Like oftentimes we get into a space where we're constantly in this things that we have to do, and why isn't my life working out, and oh my god, the detrimental aspect of things, and my life is falling apart, and this person did this to me, and this person is taking this away from me. Like it's sometimes I feel like certain things trigger our identity, and whatever identity exists is one that you've chosen for yourself in this present moment. And when that gets threatened in some type of form or fashion, then we begin to be reactors. We're always reacting, right? We're always in the space of the mind, which overthinks and overanalyzes a lot of things. And being able to move yourself in a space of getting more aware of that inner being, right? The inner being is the one that is the observer. It's the one that is the witness, and it really is the duality of the pole of oneself, where in this end we've been connected to our identity, where we feel threatened and feel stressed and feel that we always have to figure shit out, and we're always like one day to the next, like there's always a problem and all of that. Then you have this other aspect that is just literally sitting back and watching, and it's witnessing and it's observing the state in which you're moving from. This physical body that we have is really just the housing system of our infinite frequency or infinite energy of ourselves, right? It is mortal. But the thing that's dwelling within, cannot be seen, is eternal. And it's forever, right? It's forever existing. And oftentimes we're so connected to this, which is really just the senses. It's really just an antenna for us to be able to compute consciousness. But what has happened is that in this world that we are living in, it has created a system that is forcing us to be disconnected from what's truly housing us within, which is another dimension of ourselves. And so oftentimes we get so connected to the external world and how things are not moving and moving and moving and not moving, and I gotta do this bill, I gotta pay this bill, my world is falling apart, this is happening to me. You have to catch yourself. And for the ones that catch themselves are the ones that are in the observer and the witness state of being. Because what ends up happening is that the more that you begin to fester in all of the external aspects of your experience, or as I say, experiment, is I feel like we truly are experimenting with ourselves here in this lifetime. This is where a lot of people feel anxiety and chaos. And some people commit suicide because it can become too much, and people take pills and people want to escape and this and that. It's just that we haven't really been, of course, taught that we have another aspect of ourselves, that other, dualistic aspect of ourselves, that it just wants to just be, and an example would be like, sometimes I watch birds and I see one bird that will just be, just moving around. And when you live in your van, you have time to observe and witness a lot of things, because you're still, yes, you're moving, but you're also outside. So you get to view things from a different point of view, right? And from a different vision. So when I watch birds, I'm constantly seeing some of them just moving back and forth and getting, their nest together and going out and grabbing this and grabbing that. And then you'll have another bird sometimes that will just be still. Sometimes I look at the eagle, and it's very rare that I ever see, a bird like an eagle or anything like that that's always constantly moving. It is a very still observing. It's watching. It's swaying on the tree, and it's moving with the wind, and it just flows. And when you pay attention to the difference of those two dynamics, they feel completely different. The stillness of the eagle itself as a representation is your inner being that's just witnessing and observing, and there is nothing attached to it. It's just experiencing. And then you have the other bird, which is the external aspect of yourself that is constantly on the move, and it has to collect, and it has to do this, and it has to do that, and it just just a lot going on. So yeah, I think that's kind of been a big thing, for me, is to be able to be the witness and the observer in my own, world and the place that I've placed myself in. And, oftentimes we get consumed with what is happening, that oftentimes we forget that there's always the silver lining, which is you. You're the silver lining. And when you have confidence in yourself that you are dwelling from a space of your inner being, the majority of the time, then everything that seems that is crumbling really isn't crumbling. It's actually transforming itself into the desire that you want. And it may not always look as you may want it to look. It may not always feel as you may want it to feel. But just know, when you're in that space, it's always working for you, because it's working through you, and so yeah, that's kind of where my thoughts are this morning. And it's just a beautiful revelation, because sometimes I do get myself caught up in the details of why things are happening this way, and I tend to forget that there is another part of myself that is renewing and it's collecting and renewing and collecting and renewing, and it's shifting, and it's getting itself into a space of being burnt down to be rebuilt again. And oftentimes I think we're so concerned about wanting things to always feel good that we tend to forget that it really is through certain types of friction that things transpire, and things have to be shaken up. Things have to have a shaking of a foundation in order for things to crumble, so that things can be rebuilt again. And it's a beautiful awareness to be within yourself, because this is who and what of what we really are, is this inner being of ourselves that's able to witness where we currently are within ourselves, and how we're acting, and how we're being connected to the identity, and when you're able to recognize the aspect of yourself that is being connected to the identity, then you're able to make the shifts, and you're able to maneuver yourself in a space of more awareness. And it puts you also in a space of knowing that it's your inner being that has the true essence and the true answer of everything that it is that you desire. And you cannot be afraid of the crumbling of anything. You cannot be afraid to light shit up on fire in order for the newness of your life to come into fruition and to be birthed. A woman's, when she gives birth onto a child, it's not a good feeling. It's painful. And that is, for me, a reflection and a revelation of the newness and the rebirthing process of everything. You have to go through the pain sometimes in order to really see things for what it is, because now it puts you in a space of recognizing something a little bit deeper, because you have to feel deeper. Does that make sense?